You're listening to episode 258 of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast, where we'll be talking about the question, what is the customer journey and how does that affect your online business? Welcome to the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast, where being a badass has less to do with what you wear and what music you listen to, and everything to do with whether you've got the thriving online business of your dreams. I'm your renegade thinking Harvard Law grad turned online entrepreneur host, Bobby Klink. In my years building my thriving business, the most important lesson I've learned is that being a badass online marketer isn't about secret strategies or ninja tactics. It's about doing the basic stuff right and showing the F up. So each week here on the show, you'll get clear, easy to execute guidance on how to build your online business and a swift kick in the ass or two to make sure you're getting it done. Hey there, I am excited for today's show. I am your host, Bobby Klink, and hopefully you're here and you're ready for this because the customer journey is one of the most important concepts, in my view, for building a business of any kind, but especially the kinds of businesses we're building, where what we're selling is know-how and knowledge and information and kind of that kind of expertise. And it's something that a lot of people miss, but when you figure out the customer journey, it will simplify the process of kind of creating the right products, of nurturing people along the right way, and just kind of naturally getting people to want to buy from you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and kind of dive in to today's episode. Now, when I'm talking about customer journey, the traditional definition of the customer journey is kind of, people would say it is the sum total of all interactions that a customer had with your brand throughout the entire life cycle up to the point of buying and even past that. But I like to say there's actually two parts to the customer journey. One is to understand the interactions with your brand. So the stuff that is in the traditional definition. The second piece is understanding the entire journey of problems and solutions and frustrations and obstacles that your potential customer will face in solving their problem. So it's not just mapping interactions with your brand, but it's just as importantly mapping out kind of the path that your customer will take over time. So we're going to talk about each of those in turn. So let's first talk about this first piece, or the second piece that I talked about, which is the entire journey to solve the problem, okay? This is important because this is what allows you to truly understand your people. Without doing this work, you will never be able to create the other part, the traditional definition of all of these touch points in a way that makes sense. Because ultimately what you're trying to do is create a meaningful way to guide people through solving their problems in a meaningful way. And so you have to do this. To do this, you have to understand the path they're on, and you have to kind of do the work to get it, to map it out. And so if you didn't listen to episode 257, the last episode, go back there and listen to it. In that episode, it's about why we are launching a membership called the Bomb Membership. And kind of one of the middle pieces I talked about in that episode is I walked through what I've called the 7 phases of building an online business. Now, to be clear, this is not necessarily the path that everyone is taking, but it is what I would call the ideal path that people are taking. And it kind of walks through, you started in the planning phase, then building, then recruiting people to kind of get on your list, et cetera. Then it's the scientist phase, the banker, the leader, and then the badass. And so I'm not going to go over all of that again today. If you didn't listen to episode 257, go listen to episode 257 because I walked through it in detail. But the point of it is that this is kind of what I did is I created an ideal path that then I'm able to identify what do people need at each phase. What is the problem they face? And then what is kind of the solution? What does the solution need to include? Is it information? Is it coaching? Is it feedback? Is it this? And it's kind of all of these different things of helping people. And it helps me as the business owner to understand what they need. So that's part of the journey is an ideal phase. But also you need to kind of understand, how do people tend to walk through the path? How do they tend to come through the journey? And so, for example, I know that most people don't go through the journey in this ideal way. I know that a lot of people, because of bad information from other kind of gurus in the space, are jumping straight into phase 4, or think they're in phase 4, and they're doing the work in phase 4 and then phase 6 before they've even done the work in phases 1, 2, and 3. And guess what? It doesn't work. And so I understand that a big part of the path that my potential audience is on is that they've made these mistakes, that they've tried these things that didn't work, and now they're looking for what should they be doing instead. And so all of that feeds into my knowledge so that I understand how to speak to my audience. What is it that I have to address? What kind of mistaken beliefs do they have? All of that is something that I capture because I understand the journey that they are on, and then what an ideal journey would look like. Now, that'll help me to design my products and my product mix, because I can look through and say, what do people need at different phases? It helps me with my messaging because I know how people are likely to come into my world, what experiences they've already had. And it helps me also to think through, how do I design kind of an evergreen funnel that's not like let's get them on my list and immediately sell to them, but instead a more organic way of having all of the touch points. And this is kind of what brings us back to what most people would call the customer journey, which is the touch points they will have with my brand to kind of move them along the journey. And so this part of the work for you is partly about designing the interactions in a logical way, which you can only do if you've done the work of understanding the path they're on. It's also understanding their level of awareness. So do they understand what the real problem is? And do they really know what the solution is? Now, a lot of people are actually what I would call symptom aware. In other words, they know what their pain point is, but they don't actually know the cause of it. And so if that's the case, I know, okay, part of the customer journey is that I have to take them from symptom aware to problem aware, to solution aware, and then I can try to convert them. If I try to convert them into my program when they're only symptom aware and my program is addressing the problem, is a solution for the underlying problem, guess what? It's not going to work because my messaging just doesn't work. Or I try to cram all this into one webinar and people are like, no, it doesn't work. Instead, when we do this the right way, what we understand is we're able to create this model of touch points that will help to move people along the journey. And I'm going to kind of walk through what our plan is in my business. I mentioned that the last episode was about us launching a membership. And what I will tell you, I'm going to kind of, again, listen to episode 257 if you want more detail about the thinking there. But basically, we now see the journey going something like this. People come into our world and they will start by going to Bomb You, our free training program. Now, within that, they will immediately get some guidance about, hey, where are you? What phase are you at? And it will help them assess that. And from that, I think what's likely to happen is they're going to realize, holy crap, most of these other people who've taught me stuff, if they're coming after having gone through other stuff, most of these other people didn't teach me this stuff. And I haven't done a lot of this work, and I need to do that before I get back to what I was doing. So it kind of will help them go back and realize the work they needed to be doing. Now, if they're brand new, it'll just give them, hey, good, great guidance. But the idea is we'll give them that information, and then they have the courses in Bomb You for free to learn the information. But guess what? We will have messaging and touch points that help people realize, hey, if you want help implementing this early work of building out your conversion machine, building out your customer experience, building out your traffic machine, and getting to the point of having 1,000 leads, I've got this membership that can help you do it. And here's how it's going to help you do it. You're going to get coaching from me. Once a month, there's a coaching call with me. There is a tech help call with Katie, because we know that tech is a big pain point for a lot of early entrepreneurs. And then I'll be able to walk through the value that, separate from those two calls, there's also weekly calls with our bomb coaches, the exact same people who coach our high level coaching clients, that you'll get access to them to get help with copy, to get help with Facebook ads, to get help with content, and to get help with design and branding issues. And so I'll be able to kind of talk about that in a more organic way so that people see it. And there's a lower, kind of sense or cost involved. But the point is that through them going through Bomb U, as they take steps, as they're making progress in the free content, there can be obvious touch points to help people or to suggest to people that the membership might be right for them. And I don't have to do this with some launch. I can have a membership that's open every day of the week. And it works because there's a natural flow, a natural customer journey that will bring the right people in as they're starting to go through Bomb U and say, you know what? I love the information, but I want help. And so it'll bring them to there. But wait, there's more. I like saying that, even though I don't say it in the cheesy sales way. The membership is crafted to help people take the steps to get to the point in their journey that they are qualified, that they would be what's called, sales qualified leads for coaching. What that means is I will help people, and they're going to get a ton of value out of the membership. It's going to move them forward along the journey, help them make the progress they need, so that then if they want to go deeper with my higher priced, high ticket coaching program, they're at a point where it makes sense for them to do that. So again, it's a meaningful journey that we are crafting to help people along the way. Now, we are rolling this out. It's going to be candidly in Q1 of 2022 that all of this gets rolled out, and we will be testing and tweaking and doing all those things. But we can only do it because we did the work of creating the customer journey and mapping it out. And so that's why you need to do the same thing in your business. You need to figure out, what is the path that my people are on? What is the ideal way that we can kind of walk people through this process, help them have the touch points at the right thing, give them the right message at the right time to convert the right people. So that's what the customer journey is, and that's how it'll help your online business. Now, if you've been listening to this, by the way, and you're saying, I need the help Bobby's talking about in the membership, you can get more information by heading to bobbyklink.com/membership. But I would also suggest listen to the episode 257, the last episode, because I went into more depth about it there, and you can really get a better sense. Because, at the membership, you go to /membership, it's just a short sales page at this point. It's not a full sales page. It doesn't have all the value proposition, but it will really kind of give you guidance. But the last episode really will walk you through our thinking in more depth and help you understand how we're using the same kind of customer journey to map out a product mix. So that's my call to action for you. And I will see you again tomorrow. We have another interview tomorrow. And it's a great interview about planning. And so I'm looking forward to it, and I will see you then. That's it for this episode of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. Make sure to tune in next time. And in the meantime, go out and build the badass business of your dreams.